I'm going to flip the script here and deliver a full, original YouTube narration that feels like a hot-off-the-molten-iron take from a creator who's been studying the game for years. We're not just recapping a player's form, we're unpacking what makes Scottie Scheffler tick, what the chatter around him gets wrong, and what this moment says about the rhythm of elite golf. Let's dive in and think out loud, as if I'm in the studio reacting live to a big swing season. The hook you'll feel from the first line, even when the scoreboard isn't screaming dominant, Scheffler keeps accumulating impact, top finishes, a win, and a near-miss cadence that proves he's not simply coasting on past glory. Personally, I think that's the truth most fans miss. A world number one operating in a pressure cooker wears a readable mask when the chips are down, but the consistency underneath is the real story. Let's set the frame. This isn't about declaring the end of an era or guessing the death of a swing. It's about recognizing how a player with extraordinary pattern recognition, elite speed, and a distinctive mechanics package navigates a rough patch and still looks like a threat to win every week. From my perspective, the season-long thread isn't about one faulty element, it's about how a top athlete reconciles stiffness with speed, how he preserves the core of his game while experimenting with touch and misdirection. We begin with the core idea. Scheffler's physical profile gives him a unique advantage, even when his basics look off. What makes this really interesting is that Mark Blackburn points to structural advantages, his wingspan, a big arc, and a swing path that isn't textbook, yet produces high ball speed and versatile shot-making. A detail I find fascinating is how he can go from a clean, penetrating cut to a powerful, aggressive smash without breaking rhythm. In my opinion, this isn't magic. It's an advanced understanding of how to use his body geometry to stay stable under pressure. If you take a step back and think about it, greatest players aren't just repeating a move, they're bending physics to their will within the rules of golf, which is what's happening here. Idea 2, the swing's perceived unconventionality versus its actual sound logic. One thing that immediately stands out is Blackburn's description of a swing that looks different but functions with precision, a big arc, deliberate ground forces, and a left tilt club path that still lands the ball at the target. What many people don't realize is that unconventional doesn't mean inefficient. It can mean an optimized route through the swing that maximizes club face control and feels natural to the athlete. From my lens, Scheffler's motion is a tailor-made solution to leverage speed without sacrificing accuracy. This raises a deeper question about the modern game. Are we undervaluing non-traditional mechanics when the results still look elite? A detail I find fascinating is how his movement allows for a repertoire of shot shapes. He can shape it high, low, or with off-speed finesse, without a compromised delivery at impact. Idea 3, the mental and competitive edge. What makes this really compelling is Blackburn's claim that Scheffler is ultra-competitive, obsessed with getting the ball in the hole, and a master at translating even minimal instruction into scoring gold. The personal layer here is telling. The social ecosystem around him, Kenyon, the putting genius, amplifies that edge. What this suggests is that greatness isn't just technique, it's a replicable ecosystem of feedback and micro-improvements that compound under white-hot pressure. If you zoom out, this pattern mirrors other sports where the support network around a top athlete creates a feedback loop that accelerates performance, even when the surface numbers wobble. A detail I find fascinating is how a player can be in a rough patch yet still be the most reliable cutmaker in the field. That consistency is a form of genius. Idea 4, the current season arc and future trajectory. Scheffler has a win and multiple top 4 finishes in 6 events, and he's been within the top 25 in every event this year. From my vantage, that's not a failure mode, that's the setup for a rebound that could be explosive. What this tells me is that the baseline quality is so high that the floor remains very high even when the ceiling feels temporarily buried. This raises a broader perspective. In sports, the true signal of a champion is how they respond to non-ideal conditions, not how they dominate every moment. A detail I find fascinating is the timing. Heading into the Masters with a slight dip in form can be the perfect stage for a recalibration that cascades into a breakthrough. Deeper insight, the underlying trend is bigger than one swing or one season. The tech talk about swing plane, arc, and ground forces points to a larger shift in how we evaluate greatness. Athletes aren't just metrics, they're adapters who map their own physics to the game's demands. In this sense, Scheffler embodies a modern archetype, supreme talent combined with a high-variance toolkit, capable of high-speed ball striking and a short game that can flip momentum in a heartbeat. This tells us that swing analysis has become less about the one perfect move and more about the right move for this athlete at this moment. What this really suggests is that future champions might be defined less by a universal swing ideal and more by personalized efficiency, the ability to bend the game to the player's strengths. Closing thought. If we're asking what this season means for Scottie Scheffler and the PGA Tour, the answer isn't a single verdict, it's a case study in sustainability at the very top. He's not breaking, he's recalibrating. My take, the next few months could be defining not just for him, but for how players reinterpret swing aesthetics in the modern era, where speed, arc, and adaptability can coexist with precision, and where leadership on and off the course translates into repeatable success. What this really makes me wonder is how many other players have a similar hidden playbook waiting to emerge once the pressure dial is turned up. If you're rooting for a repeat run of dominance, this is exactly the kind of phase you want to observe closely. So, what do you think? Do you view Scheffler's rough patch as a blip or a sign that his swing's non-traditional design is actually a strength when pressure peaks? Do you buy Blackburn's take that his arc and ground forces explain the long-game dominance? Or do you see cracks that could widen with tougher fields and tougher courses? Drop your thoughts below, and tell me what you want me to unpack next. Is it the Masters angle, a deeper swing breakdown, or a broader look at how elite golfers manage form over a season?